recent Pro Stock rules changes by the National Hot Rod Association have made these cars faster than ever. Larger engines and a lower overall car weight have combined to radically improve the performance of the factory hot rods. Lee Shepard, the defending world champion, qualified #1, setting new national records in the process. And to give you an idea of the impact those rules changes have made, take a look at the #1 time last year as compared to the time of the 16th qualifier this year.
Pro Stock final time coming up now. That class that is so difficult to excel in because of the complicated rules that prevail. But this year the rules have been eased somewhat. All cars must weigh 2,350 pounds and have 500-inch engines. Here's the world champion, Lee Shepard, his rival Frank Iaconio. Both are in Chevrolet Camaros, so it should be an even match. Shepard in the near lane, Iaconio in the far lane as they come to the staging area, ready to go down the quarter-mile strip, shooting for $12,000. And they're about ready to go. And so they do. It's very close. With Iaconio starting to pull ahead. Tremendous horsepower. Puts Iaconio over the line. 7.835 seconds, 174.08 miles an hour. And the new rules have made Pro Stock an extremely fast category. Okay, let's go back now and take another look on that win by the Easterner. Partway down the strip, Iaconio's yellow car starts to surge ahead. Great horsepower, getting it all to the ground, and he wins by several car lengths, a wide margin in drag racing. And they gather up the parachute. Frank Iaconio prepares to get out of the car, thinking about that Italian dinner he'll have tonight.
Thanks, Steve, and what a great story that should be. But the story here at the Gator Nationals is the semifinal round of Pro Stock Eliminator. Thus far, we've only been watching nitro-burning supercharged cars. Now we'll take a look at the ultimate factory hot rod, the Pro Stock. It'll be Roy Hill matched against Frank Iaconio in this semifinal round. It'll be an 82 Charger here in the near lane, driven by Hill, against Iaconio and his flying Chevrolet, the #2 qualifier, at a 7.83 second elapsed time. Hill qualified #8 at a 7.96, and remember, these cars are carbureted, running on gasoline. Some rules changes this year have picked up the pace considerably as we see Frank Iaconio with a big lead right off the starting line. And Frank extends that margin of victory as he crosses the finish line about 3 lengths ahead at a 7.90 second elapsed time. Frank Iaconio winning over Roy Hill. The remaining pair in the semifinal round, the white Camaro, is the car driven by the #1 qualifier, Lee Shepard, for the team of Rare and Morrison from Arlington, Texas. The big #1 on the window indicates this man, Lee Shepard, is not only the #1 qualifier, but the reigning world champion. He'll be racing Pat Musi out of New Jersey, qualified #3 at a 7.89. But that 7.77 second elapsed time by Shepard in qualifying established a new national record. He also ran over 177 miles an hour. The pair of Chevrolets blast off the starting line, and this is a close race. It's too close to call at this point. At the finish line, it's Lee Shepard by about a half a car length, 8.02 second elapsed time. His speed, 174 miles an hour. As we watch again, both cars come off the starting line side by side. At this point, it's tough to tell who's ahead. As they head on down the racetrack, it's even tougher. And only when they get to the finish and we stop the action, 0.03 of a second quicker, Lee Shepard over Pat Musi. In the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator, a pair of Chevrolets, Lee Shepard and Frank Iaconio.
The second time in 2 national events this year, the finalists are Frank Iaconio and Lee Shepard. This is Frank, but there's no Lee. And I have a feeling the Rear and Morrison team are working on that car because tire shake has set in and it has really slowed down, giving you an advantage.
Yeah, Steve, first round they ran pretty good. I mean, they went a 7.86, which isn't too bad. It's a little off their 7.77, but second round they went a 8.20, I think, or an 8.
No, way off.
Yeah, I mean, it was way off.
And you've got consistency going for you, right? An 89, a 90, a 90?
Well, I guess, you know, it looks like my car likes the track, you know, and them and a couple other people who had a lot of trouble.
In top fuel, here is the all-important and long-awaited match between Lee Shepard and Frank Iaconio for the Pro Stock Championship. You remember Frank Iaconio said he thought Shepard and the Rare and Morrison team were having some problems. He says his Camaro loves this racetrack. Let's see, because in just a few short seconds, we'll know who's the Gator Nationals champion. Both cars leaving side by side. It could be anybody's race at this point. At the finish line, it's Lee Shepard pulling it out by just a fender length. Lee Shepard at a 7.88 second elapsed time. As we watch again, there does not seem to be any advantage at the starting line. A great race between two outstanding drivers. At the finish line, watch closely. You see the move made by Lee Shepard. By 1/100th of a second, he defeats Frank Iaconio. Here's Steve.
Well, just when it appeared that the reigning world champion was in trouble, he comes back to pull it out of the fire. How about that? You paid him off for beating you at the Winter Nationals a short time back.
Yeah, we had to make some changes on the car. We weren't running too good today, and he's been running awful consistent, Steve. I just feel fortunate that we happened to do the right thing for the final.
What was the right thing?
We let the pressure down the tires, though.
That's all?
That's it.
Little things, huh?
Yeah, that's all that counts.
Coming out now, the factory hot rods. This is Pro Stock Eliminator semi-final round, and the world champion, Lee Shepard, driving the Chevrolet Camaro of Rare and Morrison, will be racing the former world champion, Bob Glidden. He's been down on his luck the past couple of seasons.
In those glory years as world champion, whenever you raced Shepard, it was always you saying to Shepard, catch me if you can. It's the tables have turned.
Sure have. I've been chasing him for a couple of years now. He's been beating me pretty bad. We've picked up a little bit here today, it seems, and he slowed down a little, so looks like we're within about a half a tenth, 500ths. If we're going for broke this run, we're going to try some off-the-wall stuff, and we're either going to be in the ballpark or way out, so we'll have to wait and see.
Years before, it was always me trying to leave on him because he always had the ET on us, and now we're running a little quicker, so he's going to have to get the whole shot this time.
The classic Chevrolet versus Ford battle. The Camaro driven by Lee Shepard, the brand new Ford EXP of Bob Glidden. They're ready, and a red light for Bob Glidden, and the win automatically to Lee Shepard. 500 cubic inch engines pulling these cars to the finish line, and it is Lee Shepard winning it. 7.91 seconds, 173 miles an hour. As we see, it was just a momentary too soon for Bob Glidden. That's what gave him the red light, and the win to Lee Shepard. Moving into the finals here at the Cajun Nationals, Lee Shepard. He'll be racing one of these two competitors. Warren Johnson at the wheel of the Oldsmobile Starfire against the bright yellow Camaro of Frank Iaconio. Warren Johnson from Fridley, Minnesota drives the Starfire Oldsmobile, while Frank Iaconio, finishing number 3 in the world last season, is at the wheel of his trusty Camaro. All cars running with a 500 cubic inch maximum. 2,350 pounds is the weight. Warren Johnson just a little bit sideways off the starting line, giving a big advantage to Frank Iaconio. He takes it. You can see Warren Johnson has his hands full as the parachute comes out, but he comes to a safe slowing stop as Frank Iaconio wins that round at 7.94 seconds. The finals at the Cajun Nationals. In Pro Stock Eliminator, a pair of Chevrolets. From Totowa, New Jersey, comes 35-year-old Frank Iaconio. He's racing against the reigning world champion, 37-year-old Lee Shepard from Arlington, Texas. Both professional racers, both in 1981 Camaros, 500 cubic inch engines, 2 4-barrel carburetors running on gasoline. The best at the Cajun Nationals, Lee Shepard and Frank Iaconio. Who will win the title? Off the starting line, they leave together, and it is Lee Shepard beginning to pull away. And he does, by a car length, win the Cajun Nationals title, 7.90 at 173 miles an hour. As we watch again, you see the two cars leave the line side by side, but then the Rare and Morrison Camaro pulls it out by a car length at the finish line to give Lee Shepard the Cajun Nationals title.
Well, with any luck, Lee Shepard will continue to meet like this. at the far end of racetracks all over the country, as we did at the World Finals. The world champion wins another one.
Well, thank you, Steve. I hope we continue this. We just really had a lot of luck, and things been going good for us today.
790 to a 793. He's tough.
Yeah, he is. He's always tough, and I'm sure he'll continue to be.
Back at the starting line, the Pro Stock's ready to go. This man has been having lots of problems all season long. Bob Glidden is beginning, though, to get his Ford EXP sorted out here at the Spring Nationals. For Warren Johnson, his 1980 Oldsmobile Starfire is in the semifinals, but he's got his work cut out for him, as Glidden has been running exceptionally well with his shotgun-motored Ford. 500 cubic inches for each, for the Oldsmobile, for the Ford. The weight of the cars, 2,300 pounds. The driver makes all the difference, and it's a red light for Warren Johnson. He left the starting line too soon. He knew he had to take a chance. He tried, he got there first, but back at the starting line, the red light in his lane indicates he left too soon. For Bob Glidden, another over 170 mile-an-hour pass in that Ford EXP. A pair of Chevrolets. The world champion in the far lane, Lee Shepard, driving for Rare and Morrison out of Arlington, Texas, will be racing the man that finished number 3 in the world last season. That's Frank Iaconio. He's from Totowa, New Jersey. A perfect start, the two Chevy Camaros leaving the line as if they're one. It appears to be Lee Shepard by just about a few inches over Frank Iaconio. A 7.96 second elapsed time, over 173 miles an hour. As we watch again, there they are, side by side, a few hundred feet off the starting line and going to the finish line, 1,320 feet away by inches. It is Lee Shepard. He's a little bit slower, but he got to the finish line first, indicating Frank Iaconio late off the starting line. The finals, Shepard versus Glidden. While the action continues in the top fuel pit area on the starting line, it is the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator. Ford versus Chevrolet, and this is the best Bob Glidden has run all year long. For Lee Shepard, his normal consistency in the Camaro of Rare and Morrison. The reigning world champion, Lee Shepard, matched against his nemesis, Bob Glidden. Glidden has got the new Ford EXP. He finished number 2 in the world, while Lee Shepard proudly wearing the big number 1, indicating the world champion title. It appears to be a slight lead for Shepard, but it's so close it's impossible to call it at this point. And the win light shows Bob Glidden takes the victory. 792 at 170 miles an hour. As we watch again, you see two great drivers doing their job to perfection. Side by side at that point. Side by side as they enter the speed trap, and just by inches, it is Bob Glidden there first. The clock showing how close it really was at the finish line. Let's go down to Steve Evans.
Bob Glidden and his Ford EXP have triumphed at an NHRA major event over his chief rival, the reigning world champion, Lee Shepard. You see the two of them. Everybody enjoys a good race, win or lose. You didn't think you won?
Close. It was a close
It was thousandths of a second between the two elapsed times.
It was very close.
And it was a 1,000th of a second different reaction time.
I'll tell you, I'm just darn happy to be here to win a race for a change.
You've been such a sourpuss. I'm happy, too.
No, I haven't. It's been a long dry spell. We're not used to going so long without at least a little bone. And Steve, we're just so darn happy we can't hardly stand it right now.
Well, congratulations to you.
Run, you know?
792, I believe it was, to his 793. But if you use the third digit, just thousandths.
That's wonderful.
And you drove beautifully, too.
Thank you.
Right now, it's Pro Stock semifinals at the Nationals. Ford versus Chevrolet, these factory hot rods running on gasoline and carburetors at over 175 miles an hour. Here is Frank Iaconio driving the bright yellow Chevrolet Camaro. He is matched against the reigning world champion. Frank Iaconio taking time out to talk to his dog just a little bit before going into the semifinal round. His competition, though, he's the reigning world champ. He has already locked up this season's world championship. Lee Shepard, he's talking to his car. Shepard and Iaconio in the semifinals of Pro Stock, and they leave just as if they are one. At the center of the track, it is anybody's race. At the finish line, Frank Iaconio pulls it out by inches at over 173 miles an hour. He records a 7.81 second elapsed time. As we watch again, you see how even it was at the starting line. Then as they go down the track, they remain side by side until just at the finish line, by a matter of inches and by 1,000th of a second, Frank Iaconio gets there first. He's into the finals. His competition will be one of these two cars, the Ford of Bob Glidden or the Chevrolet Camaro of Don Kuntz and Albert Clark. Kuntz, the driver, his partner Albert Clark, working diligently on this car to get it ready to race. For Bob Glidden, a many-time national event champion. He has won the World Championship 4 times. Don Kuntz, this his best finish ever in Pro Stock racing. The tachometers in the cars recording RPMs over 10 and 11,000 for these gasoline-burning cars, and a red light start for Kuntz. An automatic win for Bob Glidden in the Ford EXP. Kuntz exploding a motor as he crosses the finish line. He keeps the car under control, but obviously some problems with that 500 cubic inch engine. There you see Don Kuntz leaving the starting line just a hair too soon. The red light indicating he loses, and Bob Glidden moves into the Pro Stock finals at the Nationals against Frank Iaconio. In the pits, Steve is with loser Lee Shepard.
Lee Shepard's girlfriend, Marcia Brown, trying to console him here in defeat. It was just whoever let the clutch out first on that one.
Yeah, it looks that way, Steve.
Frankie did.
Yeah, he did. Well, he's been driving real good lately, and it's hard to get a light on him every time.
Right now, let's see who's going to win Pro Stock Eliminator. Will it be the Chevrolet of Frank Iaconio? He was a runner-up here before, and he has never won the U.S. Nationals title. His competition, though, is Bob Glidden driving the Ford EXP. Glidden has been a national champion many times here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He knows how to handle the pressure. Can he get the performance out of the car to take the win? Both cars concentrating on that series of lights known as the Christmas tree, and a great start for Iaconio. Just a few feet ahead as they leave the starting line. Can he hold on at the finish? He does. It is Frank Iaconio, the Pro Stock champion. 7.80 seconds. His speed 173 miles an hour. The race won at the starting line as the elapsed times identical, 7.80. As they approach the finish, you see how close it was. There they go, 4,000ths of a second. Frank Iaconio, the champion.
As the Pro Stock finalists roll in here, I don't think either one of them knows who won. You won. Frank Iaconio, identical 780 elapsed times.
Really? Oh, my God. I knew I won. I saw the win light when I come to the traps, because the scoreboards are just a little ahead when you cross the finish line. I saw the light come on.
Right, that's the sound of Bob Glidden leaving here in haste. Had it not been for that light, you wouldn't have known, I don't think.
No. Other than that, you know, it was so close, I couldn't tell who won.
Greatest ever victory for you here?
Yeah. The only other time I was in '76, I was runner-up, and since then I haven't done anything here.
Well, he's won 2 national events this year, the Winter Nationals and now the U.S. Nationals from New Jersey. Frank Iaconio defeats 5-time world champion Bob Glidden.
Certainly takes the pressure off just a little bit. The mountains overlooking Orange County International Raceway, looking down on a huge crowd of people watching this Winston World Finals as we get set for Pro Stock.
That's right, the Top Fuel cars getting ready for their semifinal round. Now it's Pro Stock, the factory hot rods. These are 7-second, 170-mile-an-hour machines, and here is the world champion, Lee Shepard, the Rear and Morrison Camaro from Arlington, Texas. They clinched the world championship at mid-season. They had amassed so many victories in Winston points.
The competition for Lee Shepard is another Camaro and a very famous name. This is Lee Shepard. He drives for the team of Rare and Morrison out of Arlington, Texas. But his competition moving up from the modified ranks, this is Joe Lapone Jr. driving for the one, the only Bill Grumpy Jenkins. Lapone, formerly a modified racer, now wheeling this 170-mile-an-hour Pro Stocker with a lot of class.
David Rear, one of the car owners, looking on as Lee Shepard prepares to stage the car. He's ready, Lapone is ready, and we've got a beautiful race. Lapone is out first over Rear and Morrison, but here comes the famed Texas horsepower on the big end.
And does it pay off? A 0.04 of a second hole shot by Joe Lapone. He did exactly what he's hired to do, but the horsepower difference was more than made up for as David Rare and Buddy Morrison field another round win for their driver, Lee Shepard.
In the second half of the semifinals here in Pro Stock, we'll see this man, Bob Glidden, the 5-time world champion from Whiteland, Indiana, the Ford EXP, up against the amazing Oldsmobile driver from Norcross, Georgia. This is Warren Johnson, who came on very strong the latter half of the season. It's a good thing Lee Shepard wrapped it up early, David.
Certainly is, because W.J. Warren Johnson knocks on that 180-mile-an-hour door practically every time he goes down the racetrack. They're staging carefully, and a red light start for Glidden. He leaves too quickly. You saw it a moment ago with Shirley, and now Bob Glidden falls prey to the red light.
Glidden just rolled the dice. He had to try to leave on Johnson as Johnson thunders to a 775, 178 miles an hour. Here's Glidden again. You see the tree in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, and Glidden moves before the yellow light goes out.
That's a red light, and that's a lose, and this man, Warren Johnson, is moved into the final. We'll be finding out very shortly as we get set to go now with the finals of Pro Stock.
Oh, and the crowd is on their feet for this one. It's Chevrolet on the far lane, Lee Shepard, Oldsmobile in the tower lane, the national record holder for speed, Warren Johnson. The two have met, I believe, 3 times this year, and Johnson has won twice. They stage very, very carefully. These are 4-speed transmission cars. It is Warren Johnson out first. It is Warren Johnson out ahead of Lee Shepard. It is Johnson driving away at 7.78 seconds, 176 miles an hour, to a fairly close 786 at 177.
So as you can see, Steve, coming into the finish line, speed traps, and then across the finish line by a little over a car length, it is W.J., that's that man, Warren Johnson and his Oldsmobile, defeating the Winston World Champion for the event title. From Orange County International Raceway, this is Dave McClellan for Steve Evans saying so long for now.